Hi everybody, so today I've got a Victoria Beckham release. This is the new eyeshadow wardrobe in Cocoa, and I've also got the mascara in the Cocoa, the Lash Clash. I'm not going to show the liner today, well I can show it to you, but I'm not going to try that on. That is released as part of this collection, but that's been out for a long time now, so I'm just going to try this on its own today. You can also get the Cocoa liner as part of the collection. I've also got something to show you today from Dolce Gabbana. So this can be used on eyes, cheeks and lips. I won't be putting on eyes today, but this is the Paint Me Up, I believe it's called. And I've got this, what shade have I picked up? 01. So we'll look into this pinky shade that I've picked up and see how it works. I've heard great things about this one, so I'm looking forward to trying it. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah, I'm 48, I'm not a professional, I'm just somebody who really loves makeup and beauty, and here on my channel I show you the latest releases, my favourite looks, and give you any beauty news you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy that content, I do upload here several times a week, and I would be delighted if you subscribe to my channel. Lots of people watch without subscribing, but if you could, it would really help me very much, and I'd be so grateful. If you're already subscribed, welcome back, I really appreciate you for being here. And my skin tone for looking at these shade matches today, I've got fair to light skin with predominantly cool undertones that do lean a little bit neutral, so I can get away with these slightly warmer shades like we're looking at today, fingers crossed. And I've got blue eyes. Anyway, that's enough about me, let's dive straight into this review. So I'll start straight away, I think, with the eyeshadow. So before I do anything at all, here is my swatch video. So this is £71 if you buy it with the case. You can just get the refill, and when you buy it in full for £71 it comes in two different boxes. One box will have your case, one box will have the refill, and you just pop it in. It's magnetic. It's a very strong magnet actually. You can just pop it in, so you can just get the refill if you've got one case and you want to pop them all out. And my tip for that, if you want to do that, is you can get a large magnetic case from Amazon or somewhere similar, and you can put all of your refills in there, and then when you want to use one you can pop it into this case rather than always buying the case if you want to save a bit of money. I haven't done that because I tend to use these quite a bit. I'd rather keep the cases, so I have gone for the case, but it is a pricey way of doing it. But as always, the cases are just the packaging with Victoria Beckham. I don't think it's beaten by anyone really. It really is phenomenal packaging. Very, very strong hinge here, very weighty, lovely mirror, and hopefully lovely shades. So here I've got my pot full of all the Victoria Beckham liners. And for me it's always very easy to find which one is Cocoa for a simple reason. It's my most used shade, so it's always the shortest. So this must be it here. Can you see this one is shorter than everything else? So let me see. I bet it's Cocoa because I've got a feeling, yeah, that's Cocoa. I'm about to lose the words Cocoa on the end because it is quite literally my most used shade, and I'm sure if you're a fan of Victoria Beckham eyeliners, it's probably very well loved and very well used by you. It's such a popular shade. It's a lovely deep brown. But anyway, I'm just going to swatch it for you today rather than put it on. As you can see, I'm quite a big fan of Victoria Beckham liners generally. They're my favourite eyeliners out there. There are other ones I do enjoy, but Victoria Beckham has always been my number one, and she's the only one who gets her own pot. All of my others go into a sort of joint pot. So there it is blended out, and there it is when it's just a very strong line. And if you haven't tried it before, you can literally go underneath and above to line the eye and smudge out and create a full look just with the liner with these. So they're quite flexible, very long lasting, very long wearing, very gentle on the eyes I find, very easy to blend. You have a fair bit of time with them. They're just brilliant if you don't know them. So anyway, that is what inspired this collection because it is such a popular shade. So we now have an eyeshadow in the Cocoa theme. So you've seen the swatch video. I think the only thing I've got left to do is to try this on. So I'm going to reach for Victoria Beckham, and I'm not doing that just because of the review. If you follow me, you know I use this brush every single day. This is the, I should know the number, but I never look at the number, number 20. This is the blender brush, basically, the, I think that's what they'd call it. Eyeshadow blender brush, that's what I call it anyway. So I'm going to start with this shade here. Now looking at the swatches, these are quite pigmented, so I'm going to be a bit careful. And we know that Victoria loves a very deep, rich, smoky eye, but Victoria Beckham also has dark hair, dark eyes. I don't. So I will need to adjust the way I wear it. I don't like to go for the full blown out smoky look like Victoria, but that doesn't rule me out of trying her colour stories. I can just wear them in a different way because I absolutely love the formulas. And this colour looks perfect for blue eyes as well, if you want to make blue eyes pop. So this is not just for dark hair, dark eyes. Blue eyes can wear this too. It's quite a warm colour story though, so I don't know if you're really cool toned how you'd get on with it. But as always, that blended out absolutely beautifully. When I've completed this look, I will actually show you a few comparisons in my collection, some recent launches to see if you, oh, I've got more on the brush there, see how pigmented it is, to see if you might have this in your collection or something similar. But to be honest with you, I didn't find a quad that was an exact match, and I've got a lot. Now people have already asked me in advance to make comparisons. Now with these types of shades you can make millions of comparisons, because how many sort of neutral brown goldy palettes do we have? Millions. So I don't want to turn this into a 3-hour swatch video. I've just pulled out a couple of comparisons to show you at the end, but I think you'll probably see that there aren't really any that completely match the colour story. Not in the recent popular releases anyway. So I'll be looking at YSL, Charlotte Tilbury and Natasha Denona. I think I'm going to have to put a little bit more on the other side now, because I definitely got so much more here. Do be careful, because it really does have a lot of kickback, this powder, so when you're picking it up, don't swirl around. I probably did that without even thinking. Really tap off. It really does pick up quite a bit, even though this is a fluffy brush. A dense brush would be quite disastrous with these. But they blend out easily, so it's not disastrous, but you know what I mean. A gorgeous shade actually, I really like that. Rich, like sort of caramel brown, isn't it? A hint of reddish tone maybe. Let's use the Pencil Pro brush. This is, I should really go for all my Victoria Beckham brushes, but I'm just going to stick with the brushes I use regularly for now, because it's my first time trying, and I always use this Pencil Pro lately from Sonuji. This on its own is quite a nice look, you know. I could take this all over the lid and this would be a nice look in itself, I think. Very, very pretty shade. I love that. What I'm going to do today is I think I'm going to go straight in using my finger to this sort of metallic here. It's very sort of creamy metallic. I wouldn't take this all over my mobile lid. I was thinking of going for a halo eye, which would mean putting this left and right of my mobile lid and then going for this in the middle. But I think this is a bit too dark for me, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take it on the sort of first half of the mobile lid, and then I'll bring the lighter gold to meet with it. Now I have been moaning about gold, but I gotta be honest, this palette doesn't horrify me at all, because it's just one slightly gold shade. I didn't think it was that gold until I got it, but I think I'm going to like it, so I don't think I'll complain when I put it on, but we'll see. If you'll soon find out. That's going on beautifully. So I've got no sort of eyeshadow primer on today. There's no fallout there using my finger. I do think there'd be fallout with that powder though if you didn't really carefully tap off. It's a lovely rich shade, and a lovely one to release for the autumn, that's for sure. It really is, isn't it? It's a perfect shade. With so many clothes being launched at the moment in colours like this, sort of chocolates and light warm browns, and just perfect for this time of year. But also these colours work for most people all year round as well, if you like these colours. That is lovely, look at that. Top quality formulas from Victoria Beckham, always. One of the brands I absolutely adore. For me personally, because this is such a rich metallic, that's given me almost enough smoke on its own. So the deepest shade in this that can be the smoke shade, for me is going to be more of a liner shade really, because otherwise it will start to get too dark on me. It's already looking a little bit crazy depth wise on me, but I will be just trust the process with this look and see how it all pans out at the end. So the next thing I'm going to do is go into this shade here. So when one of them is much bigger like this, I think that's because the theory is you're going to use it the most. So this one can be used all over the mobile lid, but I think as well it could be a pop in the center if you took this all over the lid, or you could do a halo eye like I said, and it can also be inner corner and under the brow probably, which is why it's the biggest, because it's the one you're likely to need the most of. That's how I envisage using it, and that's how I would imagine it's been designed, or why it's been designed that way. So now let's take this, which isn't a metallic, it's almost like a satin. I'm bringing it in that first third there, but I'm also going to take it into the inner corner area, even though I do wonder if it's too deep for me for an inner corner. So it's not very shiny at all compared to this. It's just a slightly shimmery sort of satin finish, I would say. No, it doesn't feel satin, it's hard. Here it is again, if you want to see it. It definitely has a shine. I don't know. It's like a powder with a bit of shimmer in, maybe, rather than a satin. It just feels a bit less smooth than a satin. But it's not a full-on shimmer either. Blends beautifully together with this though, it really does. So you've got that sort of gradient then of the two, which I think for me is better because of my colouring. I need the lighter shade to sort of be the area from the centre of the eye coming out, otherwise it can really sort of close down my face. And as I expected, it's not a shade I dislike, even though it's goldy. It's definitely not. This is an example of gold that I really like, and I think they work well together. One thing I did notice is I was just going over my notes before I started filming, so it's literally just arrived within the last 10 minutes, and it's sold out. I ordered it, I got early access being a V-Suite member, and I ordered it the same day, and it's just literally arrived this afternoon as I'm filming, and I will be putting it out the same day. So today's Saturday, if you're here in the UK thinking when you're getting yours, I got mine today on Saturday in the afternoon, and it's sold out, and so has the mascara. So clearly very popular. Not a massive surprise, to be honest. I do hope there's a restock soon, because I can see a lot of people being disappointed if you've waited for a review, so you can't actually buy it at the moment. See, that is a little bit much for me in my inner corner. I have to be honest, I don't think I could use this one under my brow. But it does work. With everything else, it does work. But I wouldn't use it under the brow. Definitely need to sort of stop there with it, I think. You could take it a little bit there, just sort of open this area up here. Because it's not super shimmery, it might not be too bad on this part of the eye, which can really emphasise mature skin lines, so I often avoid any sort of shimmer there. But it's not too bad because it's not extra shimmery. So the last thing to do with this now is to use the deepest shade, which I'm just going to use as a liner, because like I said, I've got enough smoke. I don't need any more smoke, but I know I haven't seen Victoria trying this on. I don't know if she's put a video out yet doing her version, but I'd be very surprised if she doesn't smoke out quite a lot with this. So taking it strongly into the outer V and building up depth that way, but for me, this is the way I would wear it. So do look out for videos for people who have a much darker complexion to me and dark hair and dark eyes, because they look very different on them. And they will be able to wear that sort of dark smoky look very well. I try to stick with looks that work on me, because it's only going to show it's only going to make it look bad almost if I apply it in a way that doesn't work for me. And this shouldn't be made to look bad when it can be made to look so good when it is good, you know? Sometimes people ask me to, like a good example would be the Charlotte Tilbury face palettes that launched. I only got the light shade, and I pointed out how Rebecca's going to get the darker shade because she's got the lighter, the deeper skin. And a few people said they really want me to review the second one, and I could have done that. I could have done one each side, but my skin tone just doesn't work with that one. The bronze would never have worked on me, and the eyeshadow colours were a bit too deep on me and too reddish as well. So I don't think it would have looked good at all, and that's not fair on the product in my opinion, or on you the consumer, because you're going to see it on me and think it looks bad and then you won't buy it. But if you've got a deeper skin tone, it might just look fabulous on you. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I'm applying this in the way that I think it works on me, so that if you're fair skinned like me, you know whether or not it works, whether or not you like it. But if you've got a deeper complexion, you can see how powerful these shades are and how effective they are. So you can definitely get yourself a very, very smoky eye. So I just would not do that, but you could now take your fluffy brush or something like the Wayne Goss number 6, which I love to use. Also, I love to use the Shadow brushes from Rafa. They're very similar with a sort of pointy tip. Any of those I think are really good now if you go into a shade like this and then start working up a bit of a smoke here and taking it to a really dark smoky look. Like I said, I just don't like that on me, so I'm not doing it. So there you've seen that smoky liner. I mean, should I put a little bit of cocoa on as well, because you can see if it's going to be any different, I suppose. Let me just put a little bit of cocoa, but I do think they're so similar. Cocoa straight away is a bit more rich because the powder is just softer in the way I applied it. Now this might be a little bit too much on me, having double, to be honest, which is another reason why I wouldn't do it. But what you can do is you can put the cocoa liner on, and then you can go over it with this deep eyeshadow to sort of set it and help keep it there even longer. But having said that, I don't feel the Victoria Beckham liners need to be set. They're so reliable, they don't move anyway. But some people do struggle getting liners to stay, even Victoria Beckham ones. So if you are someone who's struggling with your liners, then put the liner on first and then go in with the powder to set. Now for me, that's already too smoky, you see. That's why I didn't want to do it, but anyway, I've done it now. So I'm just going to go in with the Pencil Pro brush here and sort of soften that wing area there. I will go into my classic Tom Ford Black Diamond, if I can find the right brush, and use this now underneath the brow, because this is what I need really to brighten there. The palette doesn't give me personally a shade I could use for that. You might be able to get away with it if you've got a deeper skin tone. I'm also going to use this to go slightly over that liner because I just feel it's a bit too harsh on me, and putting this powder over it will mute it down a bit. Just a little tip there if you want to calm things down. What do you think? I think that is actually pretty stunning, and it definitely brings a sort of party finish as well because of that gold and the shimmer. I think it's a really good holiday look, not just a good autumn look. I really, really like it. This is just an empty, it's the same blender brush with nothing on basically. I'm just going back over there, trying to make sure that the colour is above my hooded lid a bit and sort of blended all together, all the colours really. Just I've got a bit of colour there. Beautiful, beautiful shades, superbly easy to work with. Oh, I really, really, really like it. Before I move on to the mascara though, I'll just quickly show you the comparisons. So the ones I've pulled out that I thought you might be thinking of, I've got the YSL Quad from last holiday, which also has a deep brown and a sort of gold in it. So I'll just show you these two side by side. Nothing really similar because the brown is a completely different shade and the gold is much more of a yellow gold. So no match there, so I won't do a swatch comparison, and that's going to be a familiar story here. I've also got the YSL number 800. This one also really doesn't have any similarities. You can see again, this is a sort of gold that I'm not a fan of, and you can see on the Victoria Beckham one, it's such a light pale gold. It's just totally different. So again, no matches there. Then I've got the Dior Canage. This is my favourite out of that release. This is the brown cashmere. So the slight similarity here. I might do a swatch comparison of these. Again, it's not a match, we're not getting in any of them this deep cocoa, which is really the whole theme, isn't it? But I will show you. So with the Dior Canage, I'm swatching 4, and I'm not swatching this central one here because it doesn't match. So here we have Dior Canage, and here we have the Victoria Beckham Cocoa. So again, we're not getting any similarities, and you can see there's a lot more pigment as well with the cocoa, but it's just a different colour story. And I don't know if with everything I'm looking at I'll find a match for cocoa. The next one I've got to look at is the neutrals, the super neutrals from Charlotte Tilbury that launched earlier this year. This one might have a match. So let's see. It's definitely not going to be able to match all 4, I can tell straight away. It is, even though, I don't know how Victoria's done it, but she's managed to come out with a quad that looks quite unique actually. In a colour story that is just so familiar. I think we have a match for cocoa though. Pretty much. Very similar. We don't have a match for this one here though. Here is Charlotte Tilbury. We don't have this sort of yellowy gold colour in any of the Charlotte Tilbury 9 pan. This one is slightly similar. Certainly in impact and quality of formula and how creamy and smooth they are, I think the quality with Charlotte Tilbury and Victoria Beckham very, very similar. We do have a match for the cocoa though, but we don't have a match for this. So even with all those 9 shades from that palette, you can't create that. But if you do have the Sensual Sunset from Charlotte Tilbury, this does mean digging into a few things. You do have this shade here and this sort of yellowy shade. So you might be able to, if you've got this, I'm wondering if this sort of matches from Sensual Sunset, but it doesn't really. Here it is. It's more of a reddish tone compared with the Victoria Beckham, which is more of an orange. And then the more sort of yellow, we've sort of got a match. This is a matte here, slightly similar to this. This one's from Sensual Sunset, slightly similar to this. So you could sort of argue if you have the neutrals and Sensual Sunset, you might just about be able to create this. So if you've got them both and you wanted to, maybe that would be the 2 to dip into. And then the last one I've got to look at is the brand new one from Natasha Denona. Now I could have gone into all sorts of ones from Natasha Denona, but I thought I'd pick the most recent. So here we have the SCULPT Texture and Tone palette in the soft. So I'm going to pick out the shades in this that I think match the most. So you can see if you have this, do you already have the shades? Definitely we don't have this one, I'm sure of that, but anyway. Do we have the cocoa? Yeah, I think we sort of do. C3, that's C3, this one here, and W3 is here. So the cooler one is a bit more of a match for cocoa, but it's not a bang on match. I'll look at N2. I know this is a really dark one. Yeah, I think N2 is the match. There's N2 from Natasha Denona, and that seems to match the cocoa. So now looking for one to match the warmer shade. I'm looking at W1 from Natasha and W2. Yeah, W2 seems to be the better one. That's W2. That's pretty close, isn't it? That's W1, that's W2. So you could match those two as well. So now, do I have a match for this one here? I think the only option with this is N1, which is a metallic, and it's darker. So there's the N1 metallic. It's not quite as light here as the Victoria Beckham. And the only one that's slightly yellowy, which isn't shimmery, is Y1 from Natasha. And that's Y1. I knew we didn't have a match for this, I could tell straight away. So apart from this shade, you can definitely get a close match for these. This one isn't an exact match. You can get a match for these. So again, even with a palette as big as the one from Natasha Denona, there isn't an exact match. So, I mean, I'm sure you can dig through if you wanted to have 5 or 6 different palettes, but I'm sure, I don't know if any of you would be interested in doing that to create this one look. It's more, I think it's better to think, have you got one single palette that almost already does this, and then it rules out whether or not you need to buy it or want to buy it. And personally, I don't think there's anything in my collection that's an exact match for this that I can think of off the top of my head anyway. Feel free to correct me because I forget about so many things, but I don't think anything matches it, so that's pretty good going, isn't it? So let's now try the Lash Clash. Now, I really liked the Lash Clash when I had this in black, and I ran out. This is the brush on it, by the way, a very sort of thin but curved brush, which I prefer. I ran out of the black and I haven't replaced it, and I would have liked to have, to be honest. So I'm really pleased that this came out because I do prefer a brown mascara, but a lot of the browns I've been getting have been quite light or reddish, so it'd be good to have a more deep, rich brown. This is just my Refa curler. I do have very short lashes. They need every little bit of help they can get. So let's try this. So I take the curved dip to start and then turn it and then try to bring them up a bit. That's been my most successful method recently, trying to get my lashes to lift. So I particularly love a curved one, so I can do that. It's definitely starting to lift as much as they can, which is very little in my case. And take a bit underneath as well. So there is one eye done and one eye not done. I'll put a bit of this on the back of my hand to give you a better idea of the sort of shade that this is. You can see how rich, just looks like the liner shade, obviously, because we have the cocoa theme. So you can see it's quite a deep, rich, dark brown. So it's not going to be massively different to having a black. It's just that little bit less harsh than having a black, which is why I prefer them. So overall, I think if you don't go super smoky with this, you can have quite a good look with both these together on fair skin, unless you're somebody with fair skin who loves to go full smoky, because I'm not saying it won't work on you, I just don't like it on me. Because obviously Victoria Beckham's got very fair skin and it works very well on her, but I do think her eye colouring and hair colouring helps. So that is just one coat of the Lash Clash. Have I now got it on the top of my... Yep, I do. So I'll leave that to dry down before trying a second coat, and while it's drying down we'll take a look at this Dolce Gabbana Paint Me Up. So a little bit of information on this. Firstly, my partner in all things beauty across the Atlantic, Rebecca from Not Fit for Print Beauty, she has the shade 03 Red Sketch and she's already shown that on her channel, so I will link her video below. So if you want to see Rebecca trying on Red Sketch, I will put the link for you now. I've got the shade 01 Rose Swirl, so Rebecca is much more likely to be able to wear Red Sketch because she has a deeper skin tone to me. This one is probably much more suited to me, so I'm going to try this on my lips, just on its own first. I said first because I was wondering if it needed something else, but maybe it doesn't. Oh, that is really pretty. Doesn't go with this look though. Anyway, I'm just trying to squeeze this in, to be honest with you. It's been sitting on my desk for a week and I didn't know what sort of video I could include it in. I didn't want to do one video for one product. But that is really pretty on the lips. It would also be nice as a topper. Yeah, that would be really nice as a topper. So I'm going to take, I've still got plenty here on the back of my hand. I didn't give you any information, did I? £24 for looks inspired by runway artistry. Dip your brush into the Dolce & Gabbana Paint Me Up. Airy, weightless pigment, indulgently crafted for face, eyes and lips, delivering bold colour that lasts up to 8 hours. You have a shimmer finish, suitable for all skin types. It's got 5 millilitres in and it's made in Italy. So now let's take it, I mean for me this looks almost like a highlighter. So I do have a little bit of blush underneath the powder. I've got today the Victoria Beckham, the darkest of the 3 blushes. Oh gosh, that's pretty. Well, that is very pretty. Oh, I love that. It's been sitting on my desk a week and I haven't tried it. And I see that and think, oh, I could have worn that a lot. That has just blended out beautifully, and it's mixing here with powder up here. I haven't set this area there. But it's not lifting powder, it's not lifting foundation, it's going on beautifully. It's not too much, the shimmer. That is really nice. And I can see it, I was thinking, how would this work on the eyes? But you see it almost has a dry down. It doesn't feel, does it go to powder? Does it say it does that? It just says that the formula is effortlessly mixed, layered and played with. So you can mix it in with other things. It's quite a cool idea actually. You can mix it in with another cream blush, for instance, or liquid blush. Right now it's going on top of the Victoria Beckham, which is sitting, like I said, underneath my, no wait a minute, what have I done? I have put some powder on. So yeah, I did my foundation, then I did the Victoria Beckham, then I powdered. So it is going directly on top of powder. Well, that is absolutely gorgeous. So definitely no highlighter needed. It is a glowy blush and it looks lovely. On the lips I would say though it's emphasising all my lines. So you do need to be comfortable with that, but it feels comfortable. It feels quite moisturising actually. But I'm going to take it off and change the lip because I don't think it goes with the eye look. So I want to finish with something that does go. But I wanted to show you whether or not this worked on the lips, and I think it really does. But I do think it would be better as a topper. So I'll probably have a play around, see if I can find a lip shade I think this would work well with as a topper. And when I do, maybe I'll do a shorts reel and show you. So do look out for that. But for now, I'll take it off and put the lip shade on I think might suit this look more. So the one I want to try is the Lancôme lipstick. You may have seen me do the Lancôme holiday collection, and at the time there's only one lipstick shade available. Now both of the other 2 are available. I've picked them both up. One's a bright pink, that's not going to work with this, but this one is the Autumn. This is called Opulent Autumn, number 9. Stunning, stunning packaging. You may have seen me put a shorts reel out, which I just did yesterday, trying this and the pink one on. So here is Opulent Autumn. So I'll put this on now and hopefully this will go. Or is it still too rich? Did I need a lighter brown to finish this look? Is it a bit too reddy brown? Maybe it is. Maybe I needed a darker brown. Maybe I did. Which means there's only one lipstick that would work here. I'm going to take it off again. When I said only one lipstick that will work, there's lots of lipsticks that will work. What I meant, I'm excited to pull this out because it's an excuse to use it. So this is the new Dior Show lipsticks, and this is Fearless Brown, which you may have seen me put on before. I love this one. But this has a more deep tone to it. I think this is better. So now I'm going to go in with a second coating of this Lash Clash to see if it can be built up. I can't actually remember. I just remember I like the mascara, but I don't actually remember how I like to wear it because it's been so long. It seems to build quite nicely actually. I don't usually go in for a second layer, I just like to wear a single layer, but sometimes mascaras just need it, don't they? Plus keep in mind this is day 1 of this mascara, so it probably starts to be a little bit more effective and probably give me more volume, because I do remember getting quite a lot of volume off this, but the volume usually kicks in on day 2 to 3 of the mascara, so it will just get better from here. It's certainly giving me lift. Oh, I really like that. Definitely, you can see my lashes a little bit. My tiny lashes are not totally invisible now, I think. So that is my full face of Victoria Beckham Cocoa. What do you think of the Cocoa collection? For me, it's a 10 out of 10, and I can see everybody loving this. Who is not going to enjoy these colours? They are a little bit warm, but I do think they work certainly on neutrals. Whether if you've got cool tone, there is a cool tone element because the cocoa is quite cool tone, and I don't think this gold is too much. So if you're someone who likes these colours but they always look a bit too warm on you, you might find that this just about works because it's not overly warm. It's really, really beautiful. I absolutely love it. I wouldn't go in personally on my skin tone with the cocoa liner as well. I think that's added a little bit too much darkness for my personal preference, but obviously that's entirely up to you. I would just go with the cocoa shade here because I think that was perfect as a liner, a bit softer. Obviously you could build it up a lot more, and as we said earlier, you can smoke out the eye and get that real Victoria Beckham finish. But if you're somebody, like somebody said to me this week, I want to get it but I don't think I can wear a bold smoky eye like Victoria, you don't have to, because I'm not, and I've used every single shade and I don't feel like this is over the top or too bold for me. So you don't have to go for the full smoke, and you can still enjoy them. You can use these palettes your way. You don't have to follow the exact way that everyone else does it, or certainly the way Victoria does it. And I'm sure that's the way it's intended, to basically tailor it to your own tastes, which is what I've done. And then we looked at, I can't find it anywhere, the Dolce Gabbana Paint Me Up, which I think is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I really, really, really love it. In fact, I can definitely see me wanting to get another shade in that because it's so good. It went on so beautifully. It is absolutely stunning. I just don't know, there's only about 5 shades. I don't know if there was another shade I thought worked for me, but I'm very tempted to have a look and see if there is, because I really, really like it. I did also show you this Lancôme lipstick, which again I think is stunning, a gorgeous autumn shade. It just didn't quite go with this look. I still don't think Fearless Brown goes actually. I'm sure I've got another brown shade that would go better, but I'm going to give up and leave it there for now. But we're not here to review that anyway. We are here to review this, and both of them fabulous. Lash Clash in the brown, fabulous. It's a very reliable, good mascara that gives me length more than anything, I would say. Separation and length. It doesn't smudge on me. It does last throughout the day, and it does give me volume, but the volume will get better on day 2 to 3, like I said. So I know that from the last time I used it. So I prefer the shade to the black. I'm definitely going to keep this in my regular rotation. And this, I'd say, is now one of my favourite colour stories from Victoria Beckham. Out of all of her eyeshadows, this is one of the absolute best. I love the blue one, so I think this and the blue are probably my top 2 now. That's how much I love it. I think it's really nice, and I can see why it's sold out. But I do hope it's restocked soon and you're able to get your hands on it, because it is gorgeous. So anyway, that is all from me for today. I do hope you've enjoyed this and found it helpful, and if you have, please do hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed, I'd be delighted if you did subscribe. But if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for being here at the end of another review, and I really do hope to see all of you again for my next video. Take care everybody, bye!